Hey guys, probably a year or so ago, I put out a video on this EasyLonger ES960. It's a portable power station that's kind of designed to go with CPAP machines. Now you can use it for any other USB devices, but it was specifically designed to work with multiple different CPAP machines. It included multiple wires, has different voltages for different machines. But I did a full review on that. You can go back and watch that if you want. So EasyLonger reached out to me and said that they had a smaller version called the ES400 Air and asked if I would take a look at it and share my thoughts on it. So I figure we do a quick unboxing. We'll probably get the thing charged up. I'll show you the different ways that you can charge it, show you all the different ways that you can use it, and then I'll give you guys some honest feedback on it. So just kind of going around the box. Again, there's our name, 40,000 milliamp hours. Looks like we have DC output, high capacity, USB-C, power delivery port, 12-volt cigarette lighter, solar input. There are some of the things, looks like it's kind of the same stuff. It's a CPAP backup. We'll kind of get into that. Here's the back of the box. Kind of gives you some of the specifications, all the different amperages and voltages that you can use, and some heights and weights. We'll go over that in a bit too. But all right, let's get into this and see what all comes in it. So there's some information on the CPAP stuff. We'll go over that in a bit. Again, there's a bunch of different cables here. I personally don't use a CPAP machine and honestly don't know much about them. So I never have. But I can tell you that this has a bunch of different different brands. So if you have a ResMed S9 machine, this is for a Philips DreamStation, it looks like. That's the ResMed AirSense 10. So they must all have like different adapters and different things that plug into different CPAP machines. Looks like there's another one maybe down in here. What's this one for? The ResMed AirMini. So yeah, different manufacturers must put different connections on their CPAP machines. So they give you a lot of different connections. Probably the most popular ones that are out is what they give you. We have a USB-A to USB-C cable in there. We have the power adapter. Let's see what we got there. 20 volts and 2 amps. So that's only going to charge at what, 40 watts. And then we have the power station itself. And it looks like a manual. That's probably everything. I don't feel anything else in there. Yep. All right, let's get this out. So as you can see, it's not very big. It's a little bigger than the size of my hand. Fairly lightweight. Again, we'll go over all the exact dimensions and weights here in a bit, but let's get it out of this thing. So again, I don't have a CPAP machine. I'm not going to be showing you how to use this for a CPAP machine. So what is it then? It's basically like just a cell phone battery bank. So like this one here is like, I think 10,000 milliamp hours. And this one is 40,000, which I think equates to 148 watt hours. But you can do so much more with these than just charge some cell phones. And that's really what I want to show in this video today. So some dimensions on it. We're probably like 6 3/4 inches long. Just over 4 inches wide. And about 1.5 inches thick. And a weight. We got 1 pound, 13.6 ounces. So going around the ES400 here, I know the camera kind of makes this look a little bit gray. I think it's more green, and then obviously it's brown on the sides here. And this is a different material. It's like a soft touch material, and it's got a little bit of like grip or texture to it. It actually feels pretty nice in the hand. So we're going to have a display up here, and then this is how we're going to change through all our voltages and stuff. I'll go over that with you. This is basically the business end. This is where all of our ports are going to be. Show you those in a minute. And then back here, some more specifications. The DC voltage or input can be anywhere between 12 to 24 volts at 3 amps. So that means that we could put in 72 watts of solar input into it. There are some of our outputs. And going back to the ports, they're all labeled up on top. So this is our DC in and out, our USB-C out, our USB out, and our DC 12 volt out. So that DC in and out, if we want to charge it either by our wall charger, by a solar panel, by the car 12 volt, this is how you would charge that up. You just plugged it in there, plug it into your wall, and charge it. Now that's also an out. So if you have a CPAP machine, you take one of those provided cables and you would plug that in there, and then that end goes into your CPAP machine. The USB-C output port there, that is a 12 volt, 2.5 amp power delivery port, or a 30 watt. So you can do laptops and stuff like that, but only if they're less than 30 watts. But any type of tablets or phones or anything like that will be able to be charged and powered by that. The regular USB-A type port there, that one is 12 volt, 1.5 amp, which is 18 watts. Again, cell phones, tablets, anything that you normally plug into USB to charge should work there. And the cigarette style plug over here is a 12 to 16 volt, 10 amp plug. So you should, in theory, be able to plug up to 160 watts out of this side. So one of the first kind of negative things that I'll say is that you can obviously recharge, just like I mentioned earlier, by the wall, by your car, or by a solar panel, but they only include the wall charger. I wish that they included the car charger as well. But if you want to use that, the size is a 5521 if you want to use one of those cables. All right, let's get it powered on. We'll kind of look at the display here. So it's kind of a basic display. It does not give you an actual like numerical percentage. Instead, it just uses these bars here, and they are essentially 25%. So if it was on the bottom bar, you'd only have, somewhere between 0 and 25% left, and then somewhere between 25 and 50, between 50 and 75, and between 75 and 100. I don't necessarily like those because, especially when you get toward the bottom, when you only show one bar, you don't know if you're at 25% or if you're at 2% and the thing is about to die on you. I wish that it actually showed a number for my percentage. Like even like this power bank here that I have, I can turn it on and it'll tell me that I have 73% left. So I just kind of wish that did something similar. So again, I'm not super familiar with CPAP machines, but apparently different manufacturers, different brands have different voltages. And this is where this EASYLONGER is kind of unique, is that you can go anywhere from 12 volts to 24 volts, depending on what your model is. And I think that you hold this for a few seconds to... All right, as you can see, we can change that to 16.5 volts. We can change it to 20 volts and 24 volts. And when that voltage changes, it's that DC out right there that's changing. All right, so let's get the ES400 charged up, and then I'll show you some of the ways that I plan to use it. So again, one of the ways we should be able to recharge this is a 12 volt cigarette style charger. Again, it does not come with this ES400 though. This is from another power station that I have, and my end is a 5521. So I should be able to just take this, plug it in here, and we should start charging. Yep, you can see we're flashing now. So we are charging up. And again, it does not tell you an actual numerical number, it just shows we're somewhere between 50 and 75% and charging. All right, and another way is just to use a solar panel. It's in December in Ohio, so I'm not going to get great sun right now. I just want to make sure that the thing actually does work and accept the solar charge. And if you can see the blue light right there, it means we do have sun going to the panels. We'll set you down here and then take the end of that cable. We'll plug it in here and make sure we're charging. And that flashing doesn't happen in real life. It's called PWM. It's just a camera looking at the LED display here, but it is in fact charging. And finally, the third way is just using the regular wall outlet. If this were completely depleted, I think it's going to take about 3.5 to 4 hours to fully charge it back up. And we are charging. I'll let that go all the way back up and then we'll continue. All right, we are fully charged up. I brought out a few things just to kind of show you guys some examples of things that you can use or charge with this EASYLONGER. I'll just start here with a fan. This is a battery powered fan, but I removed the battery just to show you, like, if your batteries were dead or whatever the case might be, you can just take this, plug it into the USB. Okay, so I've got that plugged in there like this. Again, no batteries. And as you can see, the fan works perfectly fine. All running off of this. So like I mentioned early in the video, this is basically like a large power bank or battery bank. So I have a cell phone here. So that should charge that up no problem at all. Plug it in. See, we're powered on and charging. I don't know exactly how many times this should recharge a normal cell phone. I want to say it's somewhere between like 25 and 30 times. So if you're, family of 3 or 4, this should last you for several days anyhow. And there I have an iPad mini. We'll put a couple things in this time. So I'll hook it up. It draws more power than what a cell phone does. But as you can see, it came on. It's charging. I have a battery charger over here. So let's say you do have AA's, AAA's, 18650s that you need to charge up during a power outage or whatever. You can plug that into there. You can see that's on now, and I still have that charging. Some other examples is maybe you want to use this to power some lights during a power outage. Just plug those in there. As you can see, that came on right away. And this could be basically like a mobile light. You could go from room to room to room, just taking the small compact setup with you. And then this light, I have a switch on it, but yeah, all working off this little EASYLONGER. If you needed something that's a little bit bigger, provides a little more light, you could get yourself like a ring light. And as you can see, the blue is on this, so I know it's powered on now. And that provides a ton of light. And this only uses like 6 or 7 watts. And this is like around 150 watt hours. So what is that, like 30 hours or something close to that this thing could run? If you're using it 4 or 5 hours a night, that's going to last you, 5 or 6 days anyhow. So something like this, even though they're pretty small, they're very, very capable. And if you have any devices that run off of a 5521, there are actually lights that have a 5521 plug on the end of them. You could use that plug right there to power those. I don't have any of those. And then your 12 volt over here, if you have 12 volt fans, heated blankets, 12 volt refrigerators, any of those will plug into this port here. But let's just say that you have regular lights and regular fans that plug into wall outlets that are 110 volts or 120 volts. Could you use something like this on this little thing here? That, I mean, there's no outlets or plugs or anything on it. So how could you use something like this? Well, the answer to that is very cheap and very simple. Get yourself a little power inverter. I think I paid less than $20 for this, and you can use these in your car, or you can use it with something like this. And we know that that outlet is 16 volts and 10 amps, so that's 160 watts. So as long as I don't exceed 160 watts coming out of that, I will be just fine. So if I were running a fan off of this, that's, let's just say 20 watts, and this thing's 150 watt hours, I'm going to be able to last probably at least 7+ hours running a fan off of that. Okay, so this process is very simple. We're just going to take our little inverter with the male plug on it, plug it in here. And then we're going to turn the inverter on. It comes on with the red light. As soon as we get blue, I know that it's going to be good. Okay. So now we should be able to take, again, any smaller devices. This is only a 200 watt inverter, and that plug right there is only capable of 160 watts. So as long as I keep stuff below 160 watts, it should work fine. Now, EASYLONGER in their manual does not tell you to set it up this way, but I'm pretty sure it works. So let's give it a try here. So I don't know if you saw that the light came on immediately. So now I've got just a regular lamp running off of this thing here. All right, so that's plugged in there. Keep that going. And then I'm going to take a regular fan. That's this one right here. That's the end of it. We'll plug it in here and see if we can get the lamp and the fan both going at the same time. Move this box out of the way. As you can see, it's working perfectly fine. So again, got the lamp running, got this going, and even on the higher setting, this is probably only pulling 40 watts at the most. And then that bulb is like 10, so I'm only pulling 50 watts off of this. So at this stuff would only last like 2 or 3 hours off of this little battery, the way I have it set up right now. If I use just the lamp, I could probably get 14, 15 hours. So if I was using it for like a power outage, if I use the lamp, 5 hours a night, this lamp would get me through at least 3 nights. The other nice thing about adding like a small little inverter like this is that we had that one USB-C and a one regular USB port. This thing gives me 2 more USB-A type ports and then another USB-C. So I can plug in multiple more phones and tablets and have everything charging at the same time. That way, if you did have kids or whatever, I'll leave a link to this down in the video description as well. I think it was around $20 or $21. I bought it last year. I've used it multiple times and it really does work great. So hopefully, between what I showed earlier with the phones and tablets and fans and those other lights and battery chargers and all that type of stuff, and then what I just showed you now really does show you how capable something like this could be during a power outage, or even a camping trip, or anything like that. This thing is so small, compact, lightweight that literally you could just take this on a boat and take this little thing here and be able to watch TV out on the boat. It's just things like that. Like, you can use these for so many things. So there is another feature on this, and if it works, it's pretty dang cool. So they claim that you can have this plugged into your wall, basically charging. So we're going to do that. And then you should be able to plug something in over here. And so I don't know if you can see it, the light just came on. So what they're technically saying is right now is that whatever I have plugged in here is actually running from the wall. Even though it's plugged in here, it's just bypassing through this. And then they say that if we unplug it from the wall, that this automatically switches over and continues running this. So let's see if this actually works. I'm going to unplug it. And yeah, it stayed running the entire time. So that's actually a very cool feature. So yeah, as you just saw, this thing is capable of being charged and discharged at the same time, which is called pass-through charging. That's nothing new. That's been around for a long time. But it also has what's called an uninterrupted power supply, meaning that if the main power from the wall were to go away, such as in a power outage, the unit automatically and instantaneously kicks over to the power out of it, keeping your stuff going. So if you're in the middle of the night sleeping with your CPAP machine, you lose power, this would just kick on and just continue running your machine for the rest of the night. That's a pretty cool feature. And one thing that I didn't mention earlier in the video is that these things have all kinds of safety features built into them, like over discharge protection, where that way it doesn't allow you to run it all the way dead. It saves those batteries just a little bit. Overcharge protection, it doesn't allow it to get too hot and explode. There's a BMS, which is a battery management system. There's so many safety things built in. I can go over all of them, but there's a lot of technology built into this. One other thing I want to quickly mention is that EASYLONGER does offer a 12-month warranty, but if you register the product, they give you an extra 12-month warranty. So you get a 2-year warranty with it. So let's quickly talk about pricing. At the time of me recording this video, these are available on Amazon and also on EASYLONGER's website. $170, and then there's a 10% off coupon, so that's going to take 17 off. So we're at what, $153. So $153 for a power station that has 148 watt hours. That means that's more than $1 per watt hour. That's actually very expensive. When you look at other power stations such as Bluetti or Jackery or any of those big name brands, most of those are in like the 70 to 80 cents per watt hour. However, this power station includes all of these cables. So I just went onto some random website and just started typing in like CPAP cables. And almost every one of those cables is around the $30 mark or so. Now, I know your CPAP machine is probably only going to use one of these, but take $30 off the price of that. So now we're in the 120s, and it's 148 watt hours. So now we're at probably 90 cents a watt hour or whatever. So it's bringing it down, less. We got USB-C cables. Those are maybe $5, something like that, a little bag. So kind of you have to figure out if that's something, the convenience of this, being able to take this little device and run your CPAP machine directly off of it, I think is pretty nice. I pulled up this power bank from Anchor. They're a name that a lot of people know. Like, this literally is just a power bank. It can't do CPAP machines. This can't do where I should plug it in that inverter and running regular lights and regular fans. This cannot do that. And it's $150. And this one is only 25,600, so close to 26,000 milliamp hours. Whereas this one is 40,000, right there, 40,000. So you get a whole lot more capacity, able to use this a whole lot longer, and it does a whole lot more things versus something like this, and they're essentially the same price. So that one would get my vote if I was comparing between those two. I bought this a few years ago, and it's essentially the same type of thing. It's just a large battery. I have some USB ports on the top, and the only difference is, like, this one here has ports that go out to CPAP machines. This one was over $100 some, and it's got a port that goes to jumper cables. And I thought this was a good value paying $100 some for it just for that convenience of being able to jumpstart my car if it were to ever die or somebody else's or whatever. So what I'm getting at is, yes, $150 is a lot of money, but it provides a lot of convenience and then extras with it as well. But overall, I really do like this little guy. I think it's great for, a weekend camping trip, running, some lights, some LED lights, charging cell phones, stuff like that. I think it's great for boating, day hiking. Again, it's only 2 pounds, so it's not like crazy heavy. Probably wouldn't do it like overland hiking, but just day stuff out, picnics, tailgating. There's so many things to use these things for. Um, I think this got a lot of really nice features. I do wish that it showed a percentage. So I like to know, do I have 74% left or am I down to 51%? And it doesn't tell me that. It just shows the bar, and I could be anywhere in between that number. So if they make a future model, that's something I would recommend, is putting the percentage so I know how much it's charging up and I know how much it's discharging. Another small kind of con is I do wish these things came out a little further when you open it. That's as far down as it comes, and I have to move it every time I want to try to plug something in there. It's just kind of in my way. I like having it. Basically, they're like dust covers. They might provide some rain protection as well. I like having them on there. I just wish that that piece right there were maybe a ½ inch longer or something, so that it could come down away from the machine. And it's the same thing with this. It's kind of always in the way when you're trying to plug something in. You can't really turn it out of the way, just it's kind of always there. But those are like minor complaints. So, all right, guys, if you got any questions or comments, please leave them down below. If you felt the video was helpful anyway, give me a thumbs up. I will leave some links down in the video description as well. And that's going to be it on this one. Thanks for watching. I appreciate it.